5 days a week.
What you gonna do?
What you was doing before.
I know. I gotta get ready for my overtime.
But doesn't it feel? Oh,
Oh
here we go with
yeah,
that
it's
again.
another one.
I'm tired of hearing about your overtime. Your overtime is making me tired.
It's a brand new day. Ay. Wake up every morning and say it's a brand new day. Ay. Take a good day, make it great, okay? 'Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade. Yeah, chase those clouds away. It's a brand new day. Ay. It's a brand
Hello,
new day.
and welcome to Women of
It's a
Abundant
brand
Wealth,
new day.
where we
My whole
aspire
life
women
got
to
the
be
man me
healthy,
down, but what that
wealthy,
man
and
was, I
whole
had my
down in
family
our
round.
soul. I'm Kathy,
Shamila.
And I'm Lisa.
and we're going to get into some girl talk before we introduce our special guest. Hey, ladies, how y'all doing? Everybody looks so beautiful today. How was your week?
Good. Dodging the rain a little bit. Storm.
I know that rain was oh my God, I got hail. I got tons of rain. I mean, I got it all. Grass and growed about this tall. I'm like, what in the world?
I feel like there's a lot of rain, but then it wasn't. It was weird. But it's like, because it wasn't the whole. I think there was like one day where it rained like maybe for a couple hours. But then it's kind of like off and on. But that storm, what was that, Monday? Tuesday?
It was storming every day.
Yeah.
To me
No.
too. I
No,
agree.
no. The storm, the wind, like
I
that.
got
We had
hail
a tornado.
yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was
Tuesday.
today.
It was Tuesday because it was the day after Memorial Day.
Oh,
And
because
I
I went to
remember
work
because I was
late.
like, "Ooh,"
Yeah, you're right.
I
I
was
went
like,
to work
"Ooh,
late.
maybe we'll
The
be
winds
close
was
to that."
blowing hard.
It
I was still in bed,
unbearable.
and I heard the wind.
Then I got an alert to stay away from the window. I was like, "Oh shoot,
Me
but I
too.
want to see what it
I
looks
got
like
in the middle of
outside."
my
I
bed
know,
like
right?
this,
So I
like,
got up and seen.
oh my God, I don't want, because I got windows on each side of my bed. I was like, oh, I need to get in the middle.
And y'all see my place? I got windows all the way
All the
around.
way around.
I'm like, "Oh my God, if something comes through, that's it."
I
I
know.
was out in it.
You
Believe
was
it or
out
not.
that
Yeah,
early in
I
the
was
morning?
So you
out.
was blown away with the wind, literally.
At that early in the morning. Where was you going?
Work.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was, but I had to come back on.
Did you?
They didn't stop.
So you went in late? I went in late too. I got to work about 10:30.
Did it
Wow.
affect any schools or anything like that?
Yeah, they shut Dallas County all the way down.
Oh,
I have a
wow.
friend that works for the Dallas County city,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "We're not working today. They shut it down."
Hmm.
So they didn't pick our trash up on Friday like they normally do.
Oh,
They
Yeah.
picked it
yeah.
up Saturday though.
Okay, well that's good. I thought
Wow.
you had to wait another week or something.
Oh,
How did the weather affect you?
I was in Fort Worth.
You was in Fort Worth.
I was in Fort Worth. So we had some rain, but overall the grass grew. And I talked my 16-year-old son into mowing the grass today.
Okay.
oh wow. I feel some type of way because she didn't get the storm like we got.
So we got a lot of branches came
Coulda-
down,
coulda good.
and
Mhm.
we were out with internet, which the teenagers did not know how to handle no internet.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that part.
I just looked at him and said, "There's a hose out back. There's a back door. You can do what I did when I grew up.
Mhm.
It's called your imagination outside. Bye."
Right, yeah.
They don't have that.
They want to
We
stay in
got
the
a
house
tablet.
all the time. But man, we went
Right.
outside to play.
Right.
They don't like to go outside and play.
Girl, these
Okay.
kids something else nowadays. They too tough
You
for me.
found something to do.
They are too tough.
Create a game, something.
So I have a smart house, so everything was down.
Oh my
Ah,
God.
see, it's your fault then.
Right, how smart is that?
So I can at least unlock my doors, and I have to lift my garage by itself.
Yeah.
It's
The
only,
old-fashioned
do
way.
everything manually.
it's
Yeah.
only smart when there's
Oh,
internet.
yeah.
After that, it's
Right.
manual.
It's manual.
Yeah. You know,
Oh, that
yeah.
must have been fun.
So we cooked. We did a lot of cooking. We made quiche and what else did I cook? Muffins.
So the oven still works.
The oven still worked.
Okay.
I made sure that one was still working.
Okay. You didn't make it too
No, the
smart.
oven was the oven was smart.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
The microwave and oven still worked, and the refrigerator
That's a
still
good
worked.
thing,
Right,
yeah.
right,
What
right.
about the refrigerator?
That worked too.
Okay, good.
Oh wow.
Good.
You know, I heard so many
I
of
thought
my
her whole house shut down, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty much though. The internet and can't get out the doors.
so many people that I know their power was out for days.
You're right.
And
Yeah.
speaking of refrigerator and cooking and food, they had none. They lost.
Some
I
of the
had some
street
families
powers
that
are
had
still
to go
out.
to the hotels and stay due
I
to
mean, the
the
street
power
lights.
outage. Yeah.
Some of the street lights are still out. They have like
Oh,
stop signs in
really?
front of it. Like
Yeah.
downtown, some of them.
Hmm.
That's
I
crazy.
guess they're the last to get fixed downtown. That's kind of sad.
Well,
Isn't it?
just some of yeah, it is, right? Maybe because they like, well, we want to keep everything else on. Forget the lights. Y'all can run into each other all you want. But as long as these businesses are running.
We're going to have a commercial break and hear a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our very special guest. Welcome back. And we have our special guest here today with us. Her name is Tanna Evans. Hello, Tanna.
Afternoon. I think it's afternoon, right, y'all? The weather outside, I don't know.
I know with this weather going on, you don't know if it's day or night.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, you guys, let me tell y'all a little bit about who Tanna is. Tanna is a personal relations specialist. She is a minister. She is a holistic coach, as well as an unofficial, self-proclaimed personal chef. So, Tanna, can you tell us your story? And your story is a sensitive, personal story.
It is sensitive, it is personal, and just my heart and my dream, Kathy, has always been to move forward and help people heal and grow. Because my my thought and my process over the years has been too many times we like to chain up hope, and hope is never chained when we look at God.
Right.
God always gives us a hope and a compassion and a free choice and love, and He's also a gentleman, all at the
Yes, he
same
is.
time. So when we look at these things and we grow and we mature and we move forward, one of my favorite scriptures comes from James, in the book of James, which is count it all joy for your for there will be trials and temptations. The testing of your faith will produce endurance, and endurance maturity. And over the years, I've had to grow and learn what that maturity looks like and how we do have a moment of making a decision. We can decide to not grow,
Right.
or we can decide to grow.
Yeah.
So what is our choices? I mean, that's what it came down to. And I'm going to start a little bit from the beginning. I'm an international adoption, which means I was left at an orphanage gate in India when I was a day or two old. We don't know when I was left. We don't know how many days I was there. We have a guest gate of my birthday between the 7th and the 14th in February.
When do you celebrate your
The
birthday?
11th. So I tell my kids all the time, I have 2 weeks to celebrate my birthday.
That's right.
So be good to your mom.
Right.
Yeah, very.
Speaking of that, I'm a single mom of 4 kids. I have a daughter who has cerebral palsy. And my oldest just graduated last weekend from high school.
Congratulations.
So we got one out of the house. Moving on to a very sensitive and very personal part of my story. So growing up, I grew up with Caucasian parents. And I have an adopted brother who is not from India, but he is half black, Syrian, German, and Hispanic.
Oh, wow.
He calls himself Heinz 57.
Oh, okay. I understand.
So we grew up in a very different part of society in that my parents were Caucasian and we don't look anything like them.
Right.
So we ended up with a lot of different people coming at us at
I was
times,
going to ask you, do you have
And-
people picking on you?
stuff like that. And my father was a minister or is a minister, depending on what day of the week it is. So he actually runs an appraisal business, and then the business, the family business I work for, he has written books on beauty, unity, and community. What will save the world is beauty
Okay.
and unity. And then him and my mother wrote a book as well on their marriage of 45 years and what almost destroyed their marriage and his confession of it
Okay.
and her side of how she got through it.
Okay.
So my job is to make sure all of those get taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many hats. So between that and then I am working on some other stuff. But let's get into that. Some of that other stuff too, Kathy, is that I am actually a survivor of sexual assault.
Okay.
and sex trafficking.
Oh,
So when we talk about those things, a lot of people don't want to talk about those things. A lot of people
right.
don't want to bring that there is hope and there's healing on the other side. But the two things that have in common on those is forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because when we talked about being a playwright, I actually wrote my own story on the assault. We put the entire assault on stage, the whole journey on stage,
Really?
about in 2013, 2014. And we put the assault on stage. We went deep in. My cast talked me into playing my own part.
Oh.
I think they were crazy.
But how was that? Was that
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. How was that for you?
It was healing.
Okay.
It was part of a healing journey because I'd already been working several years towards healing.
Mhm.
And I actually took the script I had written because my therapist, and I'm very big on counseling, I'm very big on we need to heal. We need to
You're
talk
right.
about things. We need to move forward. Because if we hold them in, our bodies are actually trapped. There's a great book, and I can't think of the author's name, but the book is called The Body Keeps the Score.
I heard that.
And
Because your body relives every moment.
yes.
Mm.
And
It's
we
like it happened again and again.
Ooh.
and it's part of what we have discovered with uh, flashbacks and
Oh,
memories
yeah. Okay.
is our body will hold and trap in that, as well as a lot of our autoimmune diseases are reactions to trauma.
Yes. So that's where cancer can start from.
Cancer,
Wow.
MS, lupus,
Oh,
several
okay.
different things.
Hmm.
And as we begin to heal and we begin to forgive, and forgiveness is not a one time thing.
Okay.
That is something I have had to learn over and over again.
Okay.
And it's the reason why Jesus tells us forgiveness is 70 times 7.
Yeah.
Because every time we forgive, what our bodies does and what God did on our brain is amazing.
Mhm.
I'm so thankful for it because it unwraps, it's like an onion, it unwraps layers.
Mhm.
So as we heal one part, then something else may be brought to life. Because if we went and dealt with all of it at once,
Mhm.
our brain can handle it.
Right.
That's also the same thing with forgiveness. If we had to forgive everything all at once, oh, we're good, we're done. But that's not the growth and maturity that we go
That makes sense.
back in James.
God is amazing. Isn't
You know, Tanna, a few weeks ago, I went to one of your events and I'm telling you, I loved it.
he? Yes.
So
she
she
told
talked
me.
about the assault and she told the whole story, and I'm like, oh, I, you're doing another one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will do another one.
Be there. We
Yes.
definitely
I'm
want to be
like,
there.
that was like, even for me and some of the things I've been through, I'm like, wow. And it opens a floodgate too. So after that, I'm like, oh my God, it made me think about a lot, but it was healing. It was just beautiful, just how you told your story.
Oh,
Anyways, you gotta let us know what the next one
I
is.
can resonate with some of what has happened to you as well.
Kathy, y'all should definitely go next time.
I think it's just so many women that has gone through this, but never say
Never
anything.
say.
They don't say anything. They don't trust anybody to even get it out.
I must say, I'm one of those women.
Yeah, I think I am
There
too.
comes a time
Because
where it's
it's
like you
some
have to
things
say
that
it.
has happened to me. And I'm like, I ain't telling you. I mean, I don't want to share it and relive the moment
Yeah.
and go through the pain
But if you keep it
and the
in, you're still
healing to
reliving the moment
myself.
though.
But when you don't have a mentor, when you
Yeah.
don't have that special friend
Well,
that
hold that thought. We're going to hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with more of our special guest, Miss Tanna Evans. Welcome back. And before we went to commercial break, my co-host Lisa was telling us that how people don't like to share what their trauma is and things that have happened to us. So we want Tanna to tell us the story of how, it happened to her.
So we're going to take a journey back to about 22 years ago on a college campus. And I was that goody two shoes kid. I was that kid. I did not drink until 21.
Okay.
I didn't even touch. I didn't know. I mean, it was available. I lived in a small town. I could have done it. But I was that good girl. I was also very aware and very proud that I was a virgin.
Okay. Yeah.
I ended up going to a party, which I went as the designated driver. An ongoing joke in our family is I should have started Uber because I was the designated driver back in the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could have been, you know, I
Yeah,
could
you
have
could have
been
been making
millions.
millions.
Absolutely. You don't think about those things.
Yeah.
No, not in college. But I went to this party as the designated driver, and I honestly had never been with anyone. I had not even kissed anyone. I was that person.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one that was going to say, I am waiting for marriage, and my first kiss will be on my wedding day. I mean, I was a little legalistic.
How old were you at the time?
I was 21.
Okay.
So I was talking to a friend the other day, and I said, I was that Pharisee.
Mm-hmm.
That you had to follow the rules. You had to. There was no grace.
Yes.
And in this journey, God's taught me a lot about grace and compassion. So we went to the party. They had a table for the designated drivers. The girls that I went with, they scattered. This is how naive I was. They brought in this big silver thing. It was a keg. So I questioned it.
Yeah.
But there was a gentleman, and I say a gentleman, I'm going to start off with a gentleman because he was dressed in khakis. He had a nice button-down shirt, woven, and he had a cross.
Okay.
Oh.
Perception and discernment is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my moment of being naive, he noticed that I had a purity ring on. So back in the late 90s, early 2000s, purity rings were the thing to be doing. And he asked me, are you engaged? Well, I said, no, that's my purity ring, which gave him a signal that I was a virgin.
Right.
I was prey now at this point.
Right.
So thinking, being the designated driver, wearing a cross, my logic is this guy's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not thinking of discernment. I'm 21. But as we go through the night, he offers to take my drink and refill it. Well, technically, he's a designated driver too. I'm not thinking. Because we weren't told, don't watch your non-alcoholic drinks. Make sure you have something covered over your alcoholic drinks. Hold your drink.
Oh, wow.
Soda, water, no one ever told us not to watch those.
Yeah.
He put something into my drink.
Oh.
And about 30 minutes later, I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I mean, we're in a frat house. It's hot. There's a lot of people there.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he's like, well, let's go outside. So we decided to go for a walk. In the neighborhood we were in the panhandle of Texas in the Lubbock area, there was a whole new build. Now, my family's been in real estate for years. So I'm looking at the architecture, thinking it's really cool. Why not? This house, he seems to be okay.
Yeah.
But he was a predator. And as we continue to walk down the street, we're beginning to make out. I'm like, I kind of like this.
Okay.
I've never done this. This is kind of nice. Then he goes for my pants. I'm wearing jeans. I'm wearing button-down jeans. I think the other thing that we, as women and as society, don't really talk about is how we dress. And too often we get dressed in situations of how we're wearing. It's not what we're wearing. It's about control. I had jeans on. I was wearing jeans and a button-down shirt. That should not be prerogative to anybody.
Right. It's just simple, casual.
Yeah, it's never really about what you're wearing.
Right. It's
Right.
not.
And too often the victim gets blamed for what they're wearing.
But you wasn't wearing anything for. Yeah.
Flip-flops, jeans, and blouse.
You a designated driver.
Right. I was.
There's no need to dress up.
I wouldn't know
the
how
party.
anyway.
Yeah, the designated driver uniform on.
And then the next thing I know is I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. But then I find someone grabbing me from behind and being pulled down. What? And what I hear, because the roofie is now in my system and I can't fight back. But I remember saying no, and I remember coming in and out of consciousness. But during that process, I remember them saying, you have to do this to get in. It was an initiation.
You didn't ask to be in an initiation.
The other guy.
The guys.
Oh,
They were searching out for a virgin to initiate to be into this group.
Okay.
And then I was also told, honey, be still. It'll be over faster. is what I woke up a few hours later. My clothes were back on, and I was going, "What happened?" But because I was so unsure, because of the way the mind works, the way the drugs work,
Yes.
I questioned it. I completely questioned it. And I got back thinking, okay, I'm going to find the girls and let's just go home. Let's go back to campus. We got back there a few weeks later. I found out I was pregnant. Now, here's the next twist to this story that only God can put twist in and redeem things that seem so unredeemable. Is the fact I had just landed the job as a hospital intern for the summer, the hospital chaplain intern.
Oh, wow.
So I am now questioning, do I say anything? The enemy loves to use guilt and
Yes.
shame and depression and self-esteem.
Were you afraid that people were going to blame you for what happened?
Blame me. And I was at a Christian university, and the university I was at had at that time in the paperwork in our handbook said, if you had any sexual encounter, wanted or unwanted, you'll be kicked off campus.
Really?
Oh
How
no!
is that?
See,
Any
and I
form.
bet
I
they changed that
mean,
since then, right? 'Cause
They've
that's-
changed that.
They need
Then.
to. Yeah.
But back then, they didn't have it. So here I am terrified. I'm on scholarship. I'm just taking my internship. What am I supposed to do? So I hide this. And as Lisa, you were talking about, we hide these things. And now I am trapped
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And that's where I'm going. A few months later, I'm working as a hospital chaplain. And a few months later, we have more to think about.
Welcome back. And we are here with more with our special guest, Miss Tanna Evans.
Yes.
So, Kathy, Lisa, Shamila, I think we were talking about the whole idea of transitioning into a chaplain.
Yes.
And I was 21. I mean, let's be honest, no one knows what they're doing at 21.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Our brains aren't even fully developed until we're 26.
Mm-hmm.
So, scientifically, I'm really clueless at this point.
Right.
And I'm struggling. And I had gone to a very legalistic Christian university that had made things very challenging. I was also a chaplain, which, as a person who had already stated I was a virgin, I was very on a track to be very spiritual.
Yes.
Now, here I am pregnant
Yeah.
And then if they see that, they're like, "How are you trying
Yeah.
to serve
Right.
your-"
Yes.
Yeah.
because I'm a single parent at this point.
Right.
And explaining the idea of a sexual assault, not everyone will accept that as the truth.
That's true.
Oh, that's made up. You know, you probably just did something you wanted to and now you got pregnant.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So here is this side of it. And then the enemy comes with shame and guilt and self-blame and self-doubt.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't really sure in the beginning, I'm like, I really can't be pregnant, right? I mean, I was a virgin. I wasn't really sure what happened, but those questions kept coming up. So I snuck off campus several times. I ended up with 30 pregnancy tests that were all positive
Wow.
Oh.
because I kept questioning myself.
Yeah.
I kept
Because you're already questioning the assault, right?
right.
Right. Yeah.
Because for one,
you-
you're thinking like, did this really just
Yeah,
happen
did
to
it
me?
happen?
And then on top of that, with the drugs, you're like, okay, your memory's kind of in and out.
Right. That was the other
So
question.
So it's almost like a hallucination.
Yeah,
Was it
Right.
real or
Was
yeah.
it real? Was it not real? And then I'm sitting here with these pregnancy tests going, I think this really happened.
Yeah.
So I hid the pregnancy. I hid the shame. I hid the guilt. I hid all of this. And even in all of this, God does such amazing moments of work. Now, I'm going to take a moment back. I was assaulted in April.
Okay.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Education Month.
Okay. I did not know that, but thank you.
So God always has a plan, no matter how much the enemy wants to screw it up.
Exactly.
That is the biggest thing in this. That's how
Yeah.
I look at it. And that plan allowed me to go several years later. But let's move forward in this chaplaincy. So I'm in my second trimester and I miscarry.
Good job.
I almost lose my life miscarrying. If it was not for a good friend who found me bleeding to death. I was hemorrhaging out.
Oh, and you didn't know what to do.
And the crazy thing of all this, my specialty in chaplaincy was miscarriage,
Really?
stillbirth, and NICU death.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I could have, if the shame and the guilt was not overtaking me,
Right.
I could have gone to any of the nurses
Yeah.
on the L&D floor and said, I think there's something wrong.
Uh-huh.
I worked my first night. So as an intern, you would do overnight stays, kind of like a doctor.
Yes.
And you would, as a chaplain, so you would get calls throughout the night, throughout the day, however that worked. I was on an overnight call, and in that process, I was there. I had a friend call me. The guy I was dating at the time, very good friend. We're still good friends to this day. And to the moment, he has still not let me forget that I made him do something.
Oh.
He called me because overnights we couldn't go get dinner or because we had to stay in the hospital.
Right.
So he would call me, and actually he would page me.
Oh, yeah.
Pagers back then.
We had to beep.
Beats, yes. So he would ask, so he would page me and see, and then I would call him back. And he's like, "Do you want something to eat?" I said, "No, actually, can you go to Walmart
Okay.
and get me some tampons and sanitary napkins?" To this day,
You was
wow.
thinking your period was coming.
well, I know I was pregnant, but I was trying to hide everything.
Yes.
But I was beginning to hemorrhage.
Yes.
Right.
So I told him, I was like, "Can you get?" To this day, he has not let me forget that I made him go down that aisle.
wow.
They don't let you forget that.
Like, sir, I need you to get over your trauma.
That's a good friend, though. Yeah.
So he comes up, he brings me dinner, he takes one look at me and says, "You're as white as a ghost."
Oh wow.
Now, I'm pretty dark skinned, so being white is pretty a good accomplishment for me.
Oh wow.
So he knows me well enough. He's like, "I'm coming by your apartment tomorrow morning. I know you get off at 10 o'clock. I want to make sure if you're not there, I'm coming up here to get you." Because the next day was my day off.
Oh, okay.
But he knows me well enough that I would stay with the patient until they had transitioned. Because as a chaplain, part of our jobs was to stay with the families, minister them, encourage them, give them hope in the middle of grief.
Yes.
And he knew me well enough that I would stay there until the death was called.
Yes.
Yeah.
And where I worked, the chaplain and the doctor had to call the death together. So we both had to sign the death certificate. I think I made more phone calls to families that your loved one has died
Oh.
at 21 than I ever have in my life. It was also one of the most exhilarating to watch people transition,
Really?
especially those who knew who God was. It was such a
like peaceful.
It
Is that
was
what
peaceful. It was enjoyable. It was a lot of times the families would ask, "Can you read the 23rd Psalm?" or "Can you read part of the Psalms?" or "Can you read where Christ says He will come back?"
Uh-huh.
So we just had those really intense, precious moments
Gotcha.
at at the time. And families knew those who have passed on would hold on until that loved one got there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
Yes.
hours.
Yes.
And I would see that over and over
do.
and over
I've
again.
experienced.
Even from infants all the way to someone who was 90 something years old.
Wow. Infant?
Infants,
Wow.
they would know. Because my specialty was NICU.
Yeah. Yeah. You did say.
So that was there. So he said, "Go home." I go home. He comes by and checks on me. I was in labor when he found me the first day.
Oh wow.
I went 3 days in labor, losing blood. It was horrendous. I didn't know I was in labor. I just thought, okay, this is really bad cramping. It was a bad idea. And as we moved forward, so 2-3 days later, it was Sunday evening. We had friends. I had friends over because I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn. I will admit that I'm stubborn.
Okay.
Because I told him, I said, we had plans for a friend of ours who just engaged. I was going to cook dinner. Back to that self-proclaimed
Okay,
chef.
yeah.
Back then, I was still
Show off your talents.
So I had gone to pick up steaks. I had gone to the grocery store, which was a bad idea, but I was stubborn.
Okay.
And he walks into the apartment. And I'm trying to cut a steak, and I can't even stand up. He looks at me and says, "We're going out for takeout." He's like, "First we're canceling." I'm like, "No, we're not. We've planned this for 6 weeks. No, we're not canceling. So we go out to dinner. I grab the handle at one point, the oh crap handle, the front seat. And two of my friends look at me and they're exchanging these looks like, there's something wrong. She's never
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty calm. I've got a high pain tolerance. I mean, they know this about me. We get back. They watch Gladiator. I fall asleep.
Oh.
I know that's much.
Excuse Mildred. Her father is gone out, so she won't stop until he comes back in.
Yeah.
Hello.
Aw. I walk out of the bathroom and collapse.
Oh.
He picks me up, puts me on the couch. And I come to with him talking to his family. Now, he was the smart one that stayed with his family for college and didn't get a dorm, an apartment, and all the other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't have to pay all that extra stuff.
Right.
Wow.
And I hear him on the phone saying, she's really sick. Can I please? She's coming home with me. And I look at him. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay right here. I'm perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Tanna, you just collapsed walking out of the bathroom.
Right.
Yes.
You are not fine.
So,
Fine, I am.
so because we're chaplains, because I am a chaplain, we had what we call a go bag.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, toiletries, in case if you have to stay overnight, if you need backup
Mhm.
in the hospital or whatever, you always have that bag with me. So he's like, your bag is already in my car. I've already talked to my family. You're coming home with me. Something's really wrong. I'm like, okay, good. I try to get up. I'm stubborn. I'm very stubborn. He's like, I'm carrying you to the car. I'm like, oh, no, you're not. I don't have the strength to get up. He scoops me up, puts me in the car. And I'm in so much pain. I'm in full blown labor at this point.
Wow.
And I'm like, I am just, he had come over that first day. He'd watched me that first day. I thought he was there for 15 minutes. He had been there for 2 hours just watching me curl up and scream.
Wow.
We get to the car. He drives. We're about 30 minutes from his house. And I just can't get comfortable. I'm whimpering and in pain. There's all kinds of things. I've had 4 children. I know what labor is now.
Oh,
You're right. Yeah.
it's different every time. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. And again, God does something. Now, I still tell him to this day he needs to go record because he won't do it. But combine Michael Bublé, Josh Groban, and a couple of other good tenors together, and you have his voice.
Okay.
And he starts singing my favorite hymn, which is a Celtic hymn called Be Thou My Vision. Most people don't even know it exists.
Never heard of that.
He starts singing, and as he's singing, I start calming down. God knew what song would calm me down.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And he just sat there singing the entire time. When he figured out that would calm me down, he kept singing. We get to his house. I again try to get out of the car myself.
Hard-headed, stubborn.
Mhm.
Independent.
You were just gonna crawl out whatever way you
Yeah.
you gonna get out that car by yourself.
See, now I have learned that is determination, not stubbornness.
Okay.
So we get to the house. His mom takes one look at me and she says, go put her in the bedroom. Don't let her get up. And she hands me a bell and she says, unless if I or him come to help you up, you're not getting out of that bed.
What about the
Gotta listen-
hospital? No,
gotta listen to
nobody
mama.
thought to take you to the hospital.
Because I didn't want to go.
Oh,
You didn't go at all?
I didn't go at all.
really?
Because it goes back to the shame, the guilt, and finding out what had happened.
Okay, got
Oh, that's
you.
crazy. So it's just
Gotcha.
like you, with all that, you still.
And I was
Still
That's
held
tougher,
on to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and that was my specialty. I could have gone directly to any of the nurses and said, hey, I think something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do a sonogram? Can we do anything?
So at that moment, after the miscarriage and carrying on,
Mm-hmm.
were you able to start your forgiveness healing at that time?
Not until I had my first child
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
in 2004.
Okay.
And this happened in 2002.
Okay.
Oh, okay. 2 years.
So, okay. So 2 years after you were able to actually
So after I-
forgive.
After I realized that, and that forgiveness didn't even come until about 2010.
Oh.
It took because I was still
You
holding
started
on
the
to
healing back then.
So
You didn't
I started sharing in 24
Okay.
in 2004
Four.
that something had happened
Okay.
because I had been silent all of those years.
Yeah.
And then I began to get a little bit of counseling. And one of the things that I struggled with, and that's why I'm so big on counseling, one of the things I kept hearing was, oh, Tanna, just pray about it. I'll take care of it and go away. This will go away. And I'm like, this is not how this works. I studied psychology in college. And so I studied pre-med psychology and theology. So I'm thinking from all sides.
Right. Yeah.
I see all sides here, and I'm going,
Yeah.
this is not how, just praying about it's not going to make it go away.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to the forgiveness. And then I had a therapist say, write your story down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was like, I don't know where to start. I had a good friend of mine say,
Yeah, that's right.
you've been on stage most of your life. My dad's been acting for years. He has over 70 years of acting experience.
Wow.
Not 70 years, I'm sorry, half a century of acting.
Okay.
He's 70. So
Okay. Gotcha.
I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. I think that. So they said, write. And I ended up writing the script. And that began the process of forgiveness. And I sit there in the script, and the first scene, this is the thing that they talked me to doing myself, because we did a flashback scene, basically, where I'm at a gravesite talking to the child I miscarried.
Oh wow, that's very
That is awesome.
It
But
is.
that's a
Thank
good
you
healing
for
process.
sharing your
Yeah.
story with us, Tanna.
a really good healing process. So,
We would really love to have you back so you could share more of your story.
and definitely let us know when you're having another